Welcome to Belgro's Funeral Home, where we celebrate life's precious moments. From the moment you enter our doors, you're met with kindness and care. Our reception area is designed to be more than just a waiting room. It is a place of calm, thoughtfully created to ease the weight of grief. In our private conference room, conversations are guided by empathy. Here, our client experience coordinators sit beside you, not just across the table to help plan a service that truly reflects your loved one's story. Whether it's a traditional farewell or a personalized celebration of life, we take time to understand your wishes and offer thoughtful guidance. At the heart of our organization is a dedicated manager who ensures that everything runs smoothly, from the smallest detail to the final farewell. We understand that choosing a casket or a coffin is a deeply personal decision. In our selection room, we provide a calm, respectful environment where families can take their time and explore options that reflect their loved one's life, beliefs, and preference. Our spacious chapel is where memories are honored and lives are celebrated, designed with serenity and warmth. It provides a welcoming space for families and friends to come together in reflection and remembrance. For families choosing cremation, we offer on-site professional cremation services in a setting that upholds dignity, peace, and confidentiality. Our crematorium offers a seamless and respectful alternative to traditional burial, giving families flexibility while maintaining the highest standard of care.
THA optimistic about an increased allocation from the national budget. Chief Secretary Augustine remains vigilant of the growing tension between the U.S. and Venezuela. New connector road opens new possibilities for Tobago, and Tobago's first-time authors celebrated. Good evening, I'm Kristen Salandi. Welcome to the Tobago Updates Television News for Wednesday, 17th of September, 2025. To our top story. The nation is still awaiting confirmation of the exact date of the budget to be presented by Finance Minister Devendranath Tanku. Still, THA Chief Secretary Fali Augustine has assured Tobagonians that all bills and salaries will continue to be paid as scheduled. Alia Balgobin has the details.
Despite not having an exact date for the presentation of the national budget for fiscal year 2025 to 2026, THA Chief Secretary Parliamentary Augustine noted that THA salaries will be paid as usual.
We will be paying our bills, we will be paying our salaries, our workers will be salaried as the custom is. In this month, usually pay comes a little earlier than normal. The normal salary date, I think, is the second to last working day of the month. It comes a little earlier at the end of the fiscal year. No hindrances there at all from our end. We will be meeting all our bills coming to the end of the fiscal year.
Augustine said he met with Secretary of Finance, Trade and the Economy, Petal Ann Roberts, and her team to prepare for a meeting with the Minister of Finance, which was scheduled for today. He outlined some of Tobago's key priorities.
So there are several things. One, we need to prioritize payments to our contractors, those that were outstanding. Two, we also want to prioritize some of the physical infrastructure works that showed up with deficiencies from heavy rainfall and so on. The paving, the patching, that kind of thing. Scarborough Secondary is a priority for us and getting it started. We will need at least 30% of whatever is the estimated budget for that bill out to start that school as a matter of urgency and priority.
Augustine made it clear that no one in the THA has ever gone without salary. He expressed hope that the THA will receive an increase in budget allocation, adding that if they do, some of Tobago's PAN groups will be assisted.
Some support we have scheduled for our PAN sites on island, because we do have a few PAN sites who are not sponsored, who need PAN tents and all of those things. So it's about trying to meet all of those engagements, and of course we are hoping that we get more on the development side. On the development side, where we must build schools, build roads, fix roads, build health centers, fix health centers, buy equipment for the hospital, where we must fix offices and all of those things.
The nation awaits the announcement of the exact budget date. However, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar indicated that it will be early October. This is Aliyah Balgobin reporting for Tobago Updates Television News.
Tobagonians remain divided on whether the island will see an increased allocation in the upcoming national budget. In our social media polls on Facebook and Instagram today, we asked, do you believe the THA will receive an increased allocation from the national budget, which is expected to be presented in October? On Facebook, 70% of voters said no, while 30% voted yes. Meanwhile, on Instagram, 67% of respondents said yes, with 33% voting no. Remember, your voice counts too. Follow us on Facebook. Great concern.
As the U.S. strike hit another Venezuelan vessel, Chief Secretary Parliamentary Augustine noted that the ship had not entered Trinidad and Tobago waters. Tobago fisherfolk have long complained about outsiders in their territory, but he believes those complaints should now come to an end.
They're certainly not in Tobago waters as well, which means that our fishers and Tobagonians will be able to continue to ply the trade within Trinidad and Tobago waters, because I know that Trinbagonians operate above board and we don't go outside of our waters illegally, so we should be safe in our waters. The US is not in Trinidad and Tobago waters. Our fisher folk has for a long time been complaining about outsiders in our waters. They should be the happiest now, because it means that there's a deterrent to outsiders moving from their waters through international waters into our waters.
Augustine said he deals primarily with Tobago matters and generally does not involve himself in issues covered under the 6th schedule.
I tend not to make 6 schedule items my business. I don't usually speak to Prime Ministers about 6 schedule items. 5th schedule items, what I speak to the Prime Minister about.
Augustine is hoping to engage in discussions with the Prime Minister to strengthen security and defense for Tobago.
I want vessels to guard Tobago and Tobago fishers. I want faster response time from Coast Guard. I need a much more efficient Coast Guard, which means that the base, including operational bases and the sea assets, are working and are available. I want our defense systems to be working. That I will talk to the Prime Minister about.
Even though the strike is not in Trinidad and Tobago waters, Chief Secretary Falia Augustine emphasized that the country's government remains vigilant about the situation. He is calling for proactive measures and high-level discussions to ensure the safety and security of Tobago, addressing both local concerns and broader defense needs. This is Aliyah Balgobin reporting for Tobago Updates Television News.
We'll take a short break and come back with more. Stay with us.
Hair goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
I'm sending a big dirty bun for you. Better than them. And I have a big dirty bun for you. So you better don't run. Come back on me, say don't run. Good morning, Bacchanal. How do you do? It's very critical. Talk to you, but it's a long road. I'm going on, and I need somebody to me life. I stay strong. Bless me with you, Carnival is my time.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and the service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Rise and shine, Tobago. The breakfast vibes you've been waiting for is here.
When they wrong, tell you you's a big dancer.
It's time for Sun Up Tobago, the ultimate breakfast inclusive pool party that kicks off your carnival in style.
We come to take shots. She come to take shots.
Join us on Thursday, October 23rd from 6 a.m. to 12 noon at Scarborough House, 138 Milford Road. Music popping, breakfast sizzling, coolers flowing, and vibes unmatched. This is where sun, sea, soca, and celebration collides. Get your early bird tickets now at Pablo Supermarkets, Barcode, Lost Restaurant and Launch, Signature Cuts, IslandEtickets.com, and committee members. Don't miss the event where Tobago Carnival truly begins. Sun Up Tobago. Come for the breakfast, stay for the vibe.
Thanks for staying with us. Police are investigating the death of 45-year-old Kenneth Taylor, who was found hanging from a mango tree by his stepson around 5 a.m. today in Bethel. Authorities say the death appeared to be a suicide. This death comes 3 weeks after another suspected suicide in Lambo involving 16-year-old Ishmael Olivier, a former student of Bishop's High School. If you're feeling distressed or thinking about suicide, help is available. You can contact the Trinidad and Tobago Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-5588 or 866-5433 or 220-3636 or the 24-hour Suicide Prevention Hotline at 800-COPE, that is 800-2673. The art of storytelling is alive and well in Tobago, and it's being celebrated. The National Library and Information System Authority, NALIS, is hosting its first-time authors exhibition at the Scarborough Library, a special showcase for the island's literary talent. The exhibition, now in its second year on the island, highlights the growing number of local writers. Reporter Jewel Green George has more.
Authors across Trinidad and Tobago are celebrated and awarded through this unique annual event. Head librarian Nichelle Denoon told Tobago Updates the display is a joy for the library and the community.
Well, having the first time authors exhibition here at the Scarborough Library is really it's a pleasure to have the exhibition here again. It's the second time we're having the exhibition here. For the past 16 years, NALIS has hosted the first time authors exhibition.
The exhibition, which runs until September 27th, features 8 Tobagonian authors who published their first book in 2024. This is a significant increase from the 5 authors featured in 2023, a trend Denoon hopes will continue.
So in 2023, when we had the exhibition, we had about 5 authors featured, and this year we have 8. So definitely something good is happening in that the numbers are increasing.
According to the head librarian, these books are more than just stories. They are a source of inspiration with many touching on themes of mental health and spirituality.
One way it's benefiting us is that we can be inspired of the kind of work that our own Tobagonians have been able to produce, and it gives us hope or encouragement that we too can produce our own work. And there has been very common themes in looking at the collection, common themes that treat with spirituality and mental health. So it tells us as human beings we face similar challenges, and so these authors have taken the opportunity to share with us how we could navigate life with these various challenges.
Among the featured authors is Dr. Agatha Carrington, whose book, Survivorship and Quality of Life of Cancer Patients, offers a vital guide for survivors.
And of course, we know that she's into healthcare, and her book, Survivorship and Quality of Life of Cancer Patients, really provides a guide or support to persons who are cancer survivors.
The exhibition is open to the public from Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., and on Saturday from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Reporting for Tobago Updates Television News, I'm Jewel Green George.
The newly opened Connector Road is more than just a roadway. It is a gateway to exciting tourism opportunities and economic growth for Tobago. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine thinks that with this improved access, the island is now well positioned to welcome new ventures that can elevate its tourism landscape. He said visionary projects such as a world-class water park could provide families and visitors with a vibrant recreational space, while an F1-style motorsports area could attract racing enthusiasts and adrenaline seekers from across the region.
We are perhaps maybe a week or some days away from finalizing the actual lease for that water park in this very estate. This roadway provides meaningful access to that water park that will enhance their business operations. In this estate, we have also already set aside lands that will be able to accommodate F1 racing or motorsport, so that the motorsport industry won't have to own parade ground, but they will have a purpose-built facility to allow for the development of that sport.
He believes these developments would not only showcase Tobago's natural beauty and local talent, but also create employment opportunities, stimulate local businesses, and boost the island's overall economy. He said the Connector Road ensures smoother, faster access to key sites, making previously remote areas more attractive for investment and tourism. He thinks that as Tobago embraces these new possibilities, the island is ready to redefine itself as a dynamic destination for both leisure and adventure tourism. You're watching the Tobago Updates Television News. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Tobago Updates. More news right after this.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Welcome back. The government has signaled its commitment to addressing critical national issues with the formal laying of key legislation in Parliament. Among the papers introduced were a new national climate change policy and an amendment to the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act, marking the first step toward a renewed legislative push. Reporter Joel Green-George has more.
It may have been a day dominated by debate, but the day began with the official submission of two documents that could shape Trinidad and Tobago's future. The leader of government business laid the National Climate Change Policy 2025 and an amendment to the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act, advancing the nation's commitment to both environmental sustainability and public safety.
Mr. Speaker, I have the honor to lay the National Climate Change Policy 2025 on behalf of the Minister of Planning, Economic Affairs and Development.
The new climate policy is expected to outline the country's strategy to meet its obligation under the Paris Agreement, which includes reducing cumulative greenhouse gas emissions by 15% by 2030 from a 2013 baseline. As a small island developing state and a major energy producer, the country faces a unique challenge, and this policy is intended to provide a clear legislative framework for a low-carbon economy. Following this, an amendment to the nation's traffic laws was also officially laid. These types of amendments often introduce new regulations to improve road safety, address changes in technology, or adjust fines and fees.
Mr. Speaker, I have the honor to lay the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Amendment to the 9th Schedule, Order 2025, on behalf of the Minister of Transport and Civil Aviation.
The formal laying of these documents mean they now have been placed on the legislative agenda for future debate and approval. The process signals a shift from policy development to legislative action. The bills were officially listed and resubmitted later in the sitting, highlighting their importance to the government's agenda.
1. The National Climate Change Policy 2025. 2. The Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Amendment to the 9th Schedule, Order 2025.
The laying of these bills alongside several financial and administrative reports shows a busy start to the legislative calendar for the new parliamentary session.
The report of the Auditor General of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago on the financial statements of the Mayor's Fund of the Shogunas Borough Corporation for the year ended September 30, 2022.
Both pieces of legislation are now on track to be debated and passed, giving the government the legal authority needed to implement its plans for a more environmentally conscious and safer nation. Jewel Green George for Tobago Updates Television News.
The House of Representatives has taken a historic step to redefine the country's citizenship. The Constitution Amendment Bill 2025, a piece of legislation that could dramatically expand the nation's talent pool, was passed in a heated session on Friday. Jewel Green George has the details.
For years, Trinidad and Tobago has grappled with the issue of brain drain, losing skilled citizens to other countries. But on Friday, the government took what it calls a decisive step to reverse that trend, passing a bill to allow citizenship to be passed down through grandparents. Piloted by the Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs, the bill was positioned as a way to attract high-performance athletes who have a direct bloodline to the nation.
This amendment is about more than legal clause. It is about national identity, about extending opportunity and pride to our diaspora family.
But the bill's passage was far from unanimous. The opposition expressed strong reservations, not about the general idea of a grandparent rule, but about two specific clauses they claim went too far. The opposition argued that clauses 4B and 4C remove the requirement for a parent or grandparent to be born in Trinidad and Tobago, a standard insisted upon by international bodies like FIFA and World Athletics. They raised concerns that the law's broad wording could be used for other purposes, including so-called voter padding.
So what on earth is going on here, where you're removing that requirement for the parent or the grandparent to be born in Trinidad and Tobago?
Opposition leader Penelope Beckles posited that this bill awarded citizenship to persons whose parents or grandparents have not been born in Trinidad and Tobago.
The effect of this Constitution Amendment Bill 2025 is that once your parent or your grandparent was a citizen by any mechanism, let's take for example descent, even if neither of the parent or grandparent was not born in Trinidad and Tobago, that person is automatically, by this bill, entitled to citizenship.
The government maintained that the bill includes strict safeguards, with every applicant undergoing a rigorous vetting process in consultation with the Ministry of Homeland Security. The government also argued that delaying the bill would put the nation at a competitive disadvantage in sports, citing the number of athletes waiting to represent the red, white, and black.
These concerns will be dealt with at the committee stage. Mr. Speaker, there are 211 teams under FIFA who utilizes the grandparent law. Only 5 of that 211, Mr. Speaker, do not utilize grandparent law. And Trinidad and Tobago is one of that 5. Mr. Speaker, we currently have a pool of footballers in Europe willing to represent Trinidad and Tobago.
In the end, the government's arguments carried the day. The bill was passed by a vote of 27 to 10 with no abstentions. The new law is intended to extend a welcoming hand to hundreds of thousands of Trinbagonians in the diaspora, whose remittances already provide millions of dollars in economic support annually. With the bill's passage, the nation now waits the full impact of this landmark legislation on its sporting and national development goals. Jewel Green George for Tobago Updates Television News.
For decades, the promise of complete freedom of movement across the Caribbean community has been a defining goal of regional integration. But in a press release dated September 15th, CARICOM announced that that vision is becoming a reality as Barbados, Belize, Dominica, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines prepare to make history by allowing their nationals to move freely among them. Here's more.
This monumental step is the culmination of years of deliberate policy and progressive action. The concept was first enshrined in the Grand Aunt's Declaration of 1989, which committed leaders to deepening economic integration through the creation of a single market and economy. Later, the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas established the framework for the phased free movement of a limited number of skilled nationals. But now, the dream is finally being realized on a larger scale. In a landmark decision at the 45th regular CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in Trinidad and Tobago in 2023, leaders committed to pushing forward with the free movement of all categories of people.
We have taken a decision to seek to have the free movement of all categories of people to live and work.
This decision, a fitting tribute to the community's then 50th anniversary, was described as a fundamental part of the regional integration architecture, which also includes crucial contingent rights for those who move.
There will be certain contingent rights that will be associated with the free movement of people. Access to primary health care and emergency health care. Access to basic education, pre-primary, primary, and secondary education.
Members of the inaugural Big Conversations on August 22nd in Barbados all made mention of the need for free movement among CARICOM nationals as a pressing goal.
And so there was a time when we moved freely, not only among the British Caribbean countries, but among all countries. And there must be ways in which we can work through getting back to a place where it is not only possible, but it is desirable for us to be able to do that. And so we need to work on that, not only within CARICOM, but generally among our countries in the Caribbean area.
In a powerful move, 4 nations are now ready to lead the charge. Barbados, Belize, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are now on track to implement a full free movement regime among themselves from October 1st, 2025. This means their nationals will now be able to enter, live, and work without permits and reside indefinitely. This announcement comes on the heels of TNT Parliament passing the Citizenship Bill amendment on September 15th. This new bill could give double benefit of not only becoming a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, but to even more expansive access to the wider Caribbean as a type of regional passport.
The view of the opposition is that the effect of this Constitution Amendment Bill 2025 is that once your parent or your grandparent was a citizen by any mechanism, let's take, for example, descent, even if neither of the parent or grandparent was not born in Trinidad and Tobago, that person is automatically, by this bill, entitled to citizenship.
This historic move, made possible by the recently adopted Protocol on Enhanced Cooperation, signals a new era of proactive integration where willing nations can move forward without waiting for the entire community to reach a consensus. The commitment includes access to emergency and primary health care, as well as public primary and secondary education within the receiving country's resources. This is a powerful step forward, signaling a new era of proactive collaboration. The implementation of this policy by these 4 nations, home to over 540,000 citizens, could pave the way for Trinidad and Tobago to follow, turning the long-standing dream of a truly integrated CARICOM into a tangible reality. For Tobago Updates Television News, I'm Jewel Green George.
The weather report is up next.
We take charge.
Squid, welcome, man.
Always the scene. A Rich Junior, you know your shows, this be the most
Drink or sink, it's real simple. So we're gonna ask a particular question, and if he answers, he doesn't have to drink. Right? If he answers, you sink.
What kind of questions this is?
Easy thing. Destra or Fian?
No.
Destra or Fian? Now that one really little. It's tight. That's
what's going on. What's going on?
Right.
I don't know.
Skibidi bang bang. Yours truly Juby representing for Neon, a tribal affair by Highlighter Entertainment. We are here.
Tobago, are you ready? Highlighter Entertainments, Neon, a tribal affair. Costume sales are live. Register now at highlighterentertainment.com. This is Carnival meets culture. Rhythm meets rebellion. Neon is calling. And your moment is now. Light up the night.
I jamming on the pavement with Neon.
Now for a look at the weather update from the TNT Met Office. Tonight, mostly fair despite the odd overnight shower. Tonight's temperature is expected to be 26 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow, mainly sunny and slightly hazy despite spotty showers developing in some areas. Overnight will be mostly fair. The forecast low for Thursday is 26 degrees Celsius with a high of 32 degrees Celsius. The heat index should be at 37 degrees Celsius. Seas are expected to be slight, occasionally moderate, with waves 1 to 1.5 meters in open waters and smooth in sheltered areas. Sunrise is at 5:52 and sunset is at 6:01. And that's how we end this evening's newscast. Here's a recap of the headlines. THA optimistic about an increased allocation from the national budget. Chief Secretary Augustine remains vigilant of the growing tension between the U.S. and Venezuela. New connector road opens new possibilities for Tobago, and Tobago's first-time authors celebrated. I'm Kristen Salandi. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night.